Hello and welcome back to Dukascopy TV. It's time for another Hollenbeck Unleashed with Dr. Frank Hollenbeck. Today we're discussing the US economy. Frank, thank you very much for coming back into the studio.
Hello.
Now today, as I said, we're going to be discussing the US. Now unemployment data has actually improved. Is this significant of an improvement in the overall economy? Talk us through it.
Well, yes, in the sense that it's actually surprising to see the unemployment numbers improve, because unemployment is usually what we call a lagging indicator, in the sense that usually the economy improves before the unemployment rate improves, in the sense that businesses prefer using their labor more extensively before they actually start hiring new people and putting new people on the payroll, when they finally determine, yes, we do have a pickup in economic activity, therefore we need to hire more people. It was kind of surprising to see the unemployment rate numbers come down when we didn't really see that much of a pickup in the US economy. Now when we looked a lot closer to the numbers, we noticed that one of the reasons that they dropped is because of the seasonal adjustment. You have to understand is unemployment data is seasonally adjusted, and maybe this time the adjustment was not quite correct. Okay. The second thing is that we had maybe an uptick in the number of part-time jobs that have been picked up, and also we may have a lot of individuals who simply dropped out of the labor force, in the sense that their unemployment insurance is running out, or they've just lost hope of finding a job. If we really want to look at what's happening to the employment numbers, a better statistic to look at would be this payroll, or what is called the P2P statistic, which is the payroll to population ratio. And as we can see, it's been pretty steady. And the nice thing about this statistic is that it is not influenced by things such as having more part-time workers in the economy. So for me, it's telling me that we shouldn't really be drawing too many conclusions from these unemployment statistics that we've had in the last couple months.
There's been a lot of discussion in the US surrounding the fiscal cliff, but how much attention should we actually be paying to it?
Well, if I have anything to say to your viewers is don't read any articles on the fiscal cliff, just like you shouldn't have read any articles on the debt ceiling, since it never really happened. And the fiscal cliff is a bit like to fat people who don't really want to go on a diet, basically setting a date when they're going to go on a diet. You know very well they're not going to do it, okay? And the same thing is true about the United States, in the sense that there's no pain. In other words, without any pain, the US is not going to go and take the necessary adjustments that need to be made. And the reason there's no pain is because the central bank has been basically issuing Novocaine, in the sense that 71% of newly issued bonds have been purchased by the central bank. What we need to do is actually create a fiscal cliff where we can see the bottom, in the sense that what we need to do is cut government expenditures by 60%, cut taxes by 35%, do what Ron Paul suggested, cut 5 federal departments, in the sense that what we need to have is a president who's really has the kahunas to be able to actually make the necessary adjustment to bring the US economy back to where it should be.
But if we talk about measures that have already been put in place, QE3 for example, China and Brazil have both turned around and criticised the effect that QE3 is having on its own economy. Should the US really be bothered about this? What's the response been?
Well, Bernanke has basically told China and Brazil to grin and bear it, in the sense that QE3 will supposedly spur economic growth in the US, which will spur Chinese exports to the US, and therefore China will be purchasing more imports of raw materials from Brazil. Okay, and you may say that, well, QE1 and QE2 weren't very effective, and what Bernanke is saying is that, well, we didn't make it large enough and we didn't target it in the right places. It's somewhat what we said about government spending from 2008 till today, that we didn't do enough of it and we didn't target it well enough, okay, even though we're sitting on a $15 trillion debt.
So with all of these complaints aside, will QE3 actually be effective?
Well, the chairman of the New York Fed, William Dudley, basically complained that retail mortgage rates really haven't bulged. In other words, what we've seen is wholesale mortgage rates have dropped, okay, but retail mortgage rates have not really moved very much. So what's really been happening from QE3 is that the spread between retail and mortgage rates have increased, meaning that bank profits have increased, but we're not likely to see an improvement in economic activity because we haven't really seen any drop in the retail mortgage rates.
Frank, thank you very much for coming in. Dr. Frank Hollenbeck there, likening economic policy to diet plans. We'll be back shortly with more exclusive interviews. For now, though, goodbye.